So I'd now like to introduce Dr. Craig Fowler, who is the Deputy Chief Executive of Planning, Policy and Innovation at Defeat, for some closing remarks. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Greg. I won't keep you too long from the drinks and the nibbles and the networking. I did want to put a spin on some of what I've heard today, and I think we as South Australians have heard a little gem today. We haven't really done much of this before in this precise way. I think it's a gem, and I think it will grow from there. It started, I guess, and we thank Kristen for her report. That report was one which was co-funded through DeFeast and DTED jointly. One of my colleagues, Michael Milligan, who's not here, I thank him, and I thank Greg as well for their organisation associated with that report. And I think that it can be taken forward. The other part is I thank Max for his chairing of the last session, and in particular all of the speakers that have come from the different disciplines, both academic and industry, who've given you the benefit of their experiences, their fun, their failures, and obviously some really fantastic successes in the way that they've worked together. The challenge in part is that I'm very pleased to see the activities of Enterprise Connect. It is very important that the state government and the Commonwealth government at this time coordinate their efforts effectively in this area. It'll be interesting to see what emerges from the activities of the national budget, what's left in the pot, in terms of implementation of the Cutler Review. One of the elements there, in fact, was a recommendation around vouchers, which might in fact go to part of the analysis that Kristen made, and that is the kind of service contract research activities that I think SMEs can't easily afford themselves and can broker new relationships. And one hopes that when the Cutler report comes through, the voucher system, which has been effectively used in Denmark and in the UK, in fact is part of the package of initiatives which emerge from that thinking. I thank Max for his commentary about Constellation SA. Max gave you one of the most important dimensions, and that is associated with the networks and the clusters and the alliances which form, I guess, the human capital side of Constellation SA. The other activities which stem from the original science policy of the state, STI-10, 4 or 5 years old now, is that there is also a desire to try to build up the capabilities of infrastructure, dense infrastructure with the appropriate facilities and equipment manned and used by experts sufficient to help the relationships that we described today. And that's why you will find that we are continuing to support activities in building things like the National Collaborative Research Infrastructure Strategy and bringing facilities and activities to bear in sufficient critical mass in places where people can use it. I had the enormous benefit just recently on a private visit to Germany. My wife's German. I went home for Christmas to in fact spend a little time looking through some of these activities in Germany. And on the back of the back table there, if you care to pick up a copy for those who are interested, I did look through and I spoke with the company that runs the competence network for Germany. Germany, this particular company, by the way, is in fact formed from 2 major industry associations in terms of electronics and ICT, VDI, VDE, and the company runs on behalf of the federal German government a very large networking activity, 120, about 109 competence clusters, 9 branches. That is platform technologies that the Germans regard as essential to their export capability across 30 regions. It contains something like 6,000 SMEs, German-style, sizable SMEs, 450 major enterprises and 1,600 research institutions. I spoke to the gentleman who, in fact, at the interview that I had with the fellow who's running the 6 or 7 sustainable industries competencies networks. And can I say, maybe with a point of prejudice and personal passion, What you see at an international level is what we're trying to do at a local level, and what we're doing is right. What we're also doing is we're going to have to lift our eyes to areas beyond this state, and we're going to have to work internationally. It is very important, and I'm very pleased to hear the activities of international researchers allowing an industry, local industry, to get some legs overseas. This is something that we're going to have to work very hard at, I think, as we go through. I mean, daily we're seeing issues associated with job losses in the, if I can say, the traditional manufacturing sector, however I might define that. And that's very challenging at the moment. One of the responsibilities of my minister, besides science and information economy, is that he's the minister also for employment. The comment about what sort of manufacturing for the future will the state have, what sort of jobs, this is about a really important transformation in the nature of the economy in the state. It may be smaller, high intensive, better jobs, higher skills, different sorts of arrangements than we're seeing at present. And you're very much part of the vanguard of that, and I've been really pleased to sit in the back and enjoy such a terrific occasion. So I thank everybody who's been involved, and I'll maybe do more of it. Thanks very much.
Okay, just a few thank yous is all that's between you and a drink. First of all, I'd like to thank Max Brennan in particular for being the catalyst for this activity. Thanks, Max. And then particularly through DeFeast, the support from Craig and Michael Milligan, but in particular from Ken Murrell for his work on the whole project, and from the DTED perspective, the Centre for Innovation with David Viola and Tom Hubbard. So thank you to all of those guys in particular. Thanks to Tom also and to Joe Galley for organising today's event. And none of this would have happened without the work that Kristen's done. So thank you very much for Kristen and her efforts and perseverance for the project. And again, I'd like to thank all of the speakers and the participants in the survey as well for their involvement. And finally, a thank you to all of you for attending this afternoon. And I do hope that we can see some opportunities from this and keep moving forward with it. So thank you very much.